In 2006, Rhonda Byrne released
The Secret.
The Secret?
The Secret,
a self-help book revealing how to fulfill your deepest desires. It has sold 35 million copies and translated into 50 languages, and is also complete BS. This New York Times bestseller contains ineffective advice that, if implemented, can harm the reader more than help them.
And unfortunately, some people died. She had stage 3 breast cancer and just decided that through The Secret, she was going to imagine herself a healthy person.
Yeah.
And then, she eventually wound up dying from it because she didn't get treatment.
Yet it is still praised and sold to new readers. If you have read this book, I beg you to watch this entire video, because your perspective of what you read will be flipped on its head. And to do this, let's take a good look at what this book actually says.
The secret is the law of attraction.
If I had to summarize the main idea of The Secret to you, it would be the law of attraction. This law states that the thoughts you think directly affect the quality of your life. So if you begin thinking positive thoughts, it would manifest into positive outcomes. The same goes for negative thoughts. When you think negatively, it will lead to negative outcomes. So for example, say you want to get rich. According to the law, if you manifest the idea of gaining money and suppressing the idea of losing it, you will over time gain the ability to reach that goal.
If you see it in here, you're going to hold it here.
The book also promises that
It works every time with every person.
it seems good on paper, and the idea that simply thinking about your desires will create them sounds extremely appealing. However, once you sit down and think about this logically, the idea starts to fall apart. Of course, positive thinking is not a bad thing. In fact, it is a very important tool for success. Doing so will keep you strong in the face of adversity and help you maintain a healthy life and personality. However, the law of attraction is extreme because it states that positive thinking alone can bring you success.
It's like saying, I am going to be a bodybuilder because I drink water.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you... Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Where do I start? You should drink water, and it will help you if you want to be a bodybuilder. But I've talked to all these bodybuilders, and the one thing they have in common is they all drank water, and they knew that if they drank water, they would be giant. They'd be giant, huge people.
That's all you got to do.
Okay, but did they also perform reps to failure? Did they also take steroids? Did they also do these exercises, squats, deadlifts, curls? Did they do all that stuff too? Yes, but the water.
And the book goes ahead and states that you should take time out of your day just to manifest your desires. In the documentary of the same name, they say if you want your dream car, literally sit in your armchair and pretend you are driving it. Fantasizing about your dream car may make you feel good, but by itself will do little in helping you actually get it. Another issue with the law of attraction is the idea of suppressing negative ideas and thoughts. Though it may appear innocent, suppressing the negative emotions on a psychological level is a very bad idea. To prove this, I want you to look at this polar bear. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere with this. Now, I want you to stop thinking about that bear. Try your hardest to remove it from your brain and just suppress it. Don't think about the bear. Did it work? Of course, you were still thinking about it, no matter how hard you tried. But why? This was what Russian author Fyodor Dostoevsky was thinking, and realize that no matter how hard he tried, you will see that the cursed thing will come to mind every minute.
I say to you, don't think about me. What are you thinking about?
Hence, the white bear paradox was born. Whenever you try to suppress a feeling or idea, it will appear in your mind more intensely and more frequently. Keep that in mind. Your brain can't manually suppress feelings or ideas. So imagine what happens if you take the book's advice to heart and follow the law of attraction. Let's say you suppress ideas of failing, going broke, and being lonely. If so, these ideas will inevitably come back. And like someone who is panicking and tells themselves to stop panicking, the floodgates break loose. So while this advice sounds appealing and is easy to implement, it can worsen the very issue that caused you to buy the book in the first place. The Secret also has some very conflicting messaging.
Everything that's around you right now in your life, including the things you're complaining about, you've attracted.
Everything. And if something bad happened in your life, then it is your fault. You manifested it into your life. Got robbed on the street? Your fault. Loved one died in a car accident? Your fault. Lost everything as a result of warfare? You were thinking too negatively. The law states clearly that any issue in your life can be removed or prevented by just thinking positively.
Positive imagery. Fly to Africa and tell one of them starving children that what's wrong with you? I have not eaten in 5 days. What you need to do is visualize some roast beef and some mashed potatoes and gravy. Oh, please, you're killing me. Stop talking like that. No. The problem is you have a bad attitude about starving to death.
Many people don't discuss when talking about this book is that its advice has indirectly killed people. As stated in the documentary and in the book numerous times,
It always works. It works every time with every person.
however, it did not work in the case of Kim Tinkham and Kathy Goodman. Kim Tinkham was watching the Oprah Winfrey Show one day. It came across one of the 2 episodes dedicated to The Secret. Oprah was one of the biggest supporters of the book upon its release.
Because basically the message of The Secret is the message that I've been trying to share with the world on my show for the past 21 years.
Shortly afterwards, Oprah received a letter from Tinkham that stated she was a breast cancer patient, and after learning of the law of attraction, she was going to drop chemotherapy and instead heal herself with The Secret. Alarmed, Oprah immediately bought her a plane ticket to get on the show and tried to persuade her to continue traditional treatment, but unfortunately she would not change. By 2008, she was cancer-free. However, the tumor returned and she died on December 7th, 2010. Feel free to examine this rabbit hole further.
On November 23rd, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
What happened to Kathy Goodman is a near identical scenario. She appears in the book and the documentary and claims that she used the law of attraction to cure her breast cancer.
From the time I was diagnosed, which was November 23rd, to the time I was healed totally, was approximately 3 months. And that's without radiation and chemotherapy.
And unfortunately is reported to have died after The Secret's release. And yet this book still has a gigantic following, with many of the people featured in the book still maintaining a grip in the self-help world and preaching the law of attraction. So, how can a book like this be accepted in the self-help world? Though The Secret contains information from New Thought books and ancient traditions, it is missing something very important, and that is scientific integrity. I was inspired to make this video after reading the first few chapters of Richard Wiseman's 59 Seconds. Shout out to him, an awesome book.
You just see this advice, which is terrible, which you as a psychologist you shouldn't be telling anyone, and I thought it'd be nice to set the record straight.
Have you ever been told to punch a pillow if you get mad? Well, doing so will increase your anger levels. Have you been told that brainstorming is the best way to come up with ideas? Turns out that thinking on your own is better. You know the Yale Goal Study? The study that showed that people who wrote down their goals did exponentially better than their counterparts? Turns out it never happened, even though it is still cited by motivational speakers to this day. Have you ever been told that we are using
5% of the potential of the human mind?
This is a ridiculous claim, and you use all sections of your brain in your daily life. I know you have been told that you can get rich, get laid, get power, and a zillion other promises if you read this book, watch this video, subscribe to this series, go to this event, etc. But after this, did you improve? The reason why is that the self-help industry is an industry. A multi-million-dollar one at that. And what do you think will happen if everyone suddenly improves? I'm not saying every motivational speaker is betting on you failing. In fact, I believe The Secret was written with good intentions. However, we humans latch onto this sort of stuff because we want simple solutions to our complex problems. It is more appealing and easier to punch a pillow rather than analyze how to control your anger. The industry is always promoting this idea that you can be better. You can always be slimmer, more charming, more good looking, but there is a point where we have to draw the line. And while wanting to improve yourself is a very good thing, many people end up feeling ashamed if they read that book and nothing changes. Especially if somebody ends up implementing the ineffective advice we just discussed. It creates a cycle of shame that makes you think, I'm not good enough, and that I cannot change. And that is so far from the truth. There are some things you can never control. Beyond all the shame we hold in our lives, beyond all failed attempts, we just have to sit down and say, I love myself. It is a tragedy because there are so many people out there who believe that they can be better people, but end up going down the rabbit hole of self-help and are left even more confused and even more insecure about themselves. So what can we do about it? If you take away one thing from this video, Know that most of the solutions listed in the video aim to treat the symptoms rather than the cause. You may feel good manifesting your dream car, but it won't bring you that car in real life. Instead of distracting ourselves with fantasy, take direct action to organize and clean up your life. Once you find trustworthy advice to eliminate the issue, stick to it, be consistent, and be happy with any amount of progress. Always remember the white bear paradox. Whenever metaphorical bears appear in your life, don't try to forget about it, distract yourself from it, or try to manifest your way to a bearless life. Instead, confront the bear, and though it will be hard, through time and consistency, working hard to directly eliminate the bear will cause more bears to disappear. Stay strong, know life is tough, and through consistent and direct action, we can all improve. Thank you everyone for watching. Now that we are finished this video, you can forget about the bear, and the subscribe button he is holding. Just forget about it. I said Funky!
Funky Wonderland! Funky! Funky Wonderland!